you do a lot of work and you don't get paid for it. So the only thing that drives you is passion. We come to the developers like very happy, like, hey, I found an issue. You be happy for that you found a bug, take a breather.
Is there a quality challenge that's unique to password management and security products that our listeners might not expect?
Usually everyone is selfish. That's natural. And you shouldn't be naive, shouldn't be expecting that everyone will default to cooperating with you.
NordPass deals with a lot of sensitive user data and security. How does that context shape your quality assurance approach?
The AI models we use today will be outdated probably in 2 months.
Hello, and welcome to Tech Effect, the podcast where we interview industry leaders and experts on the topics and trends shaping the tech industry. My name is Josh from TestDevLab's marketing team, and today I'm joined by Nikolaj Tolkačiov. Nikolaj is an engineering manager at NordPass, an independent QA consultant and quality coach, as well as an executive board member at the LTSTQB, that's the Lithuanian Software Testing and Qualifications Board. Nikolaj's current work at Nord has him focusing on creating an environment where teams can deliver high-quality software efficiently and sustainably. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Nikolaj.
Yeah, thanks. Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you on the show, and thank you for joining us. Now, Nikolaj, you've had quite a journey from QA lead to engineering manager. But so our audience can understand a bit more about you, I'd like to take it back to the beginning and ask, what got you interested in tech in the first place, and what drew you to software QA specifically?
Well, probably as many other individuals who are working in IT software development, I was hooked by video games. So I spent a lot of time playing them, but I was also curious. When I was playing some shooter games, I was curious how the opponents, how the bots were programmed, how they're what are the algorithm, and I was kind of curious, and I was trying to write like a pseudocode, like how I would do it, and it got me hooked up. And since class in 5th grade, I knew what I needed to study. And I specifically fine-tuned my curriculum just to get there. And that love for passion and curiosity never wavered, and I still have it till this day. So that was the beginning. And later, when I finished my uni, I wanted to start the career, but I couldn't find the jobs. And I wanted to be like software developer, just like as anyone else who's finishing software development university. But I had to choose testing. And at that time, I felt like this is just like a first step, and then I'm later going to be, going to another software development. But I really liked it. And my background from software development actually helped me to be above average compared to anyone else who was working in QA. And I could do software, writing software, I could do coding, and it helped me elevate, doing some automation testing. While in the industry back in the day, there wasn't many who were doing that. And it helped me push further, get promoted faster. I could do some things that others couldn't, and I got more interesting and exciting projects to work on because of that skills. And since that day, I was never not sorry, but never disappointed in that choice. And I was really glad that I chose to be a QA.
And gave you that in-depth knowledge that let you take on a lot more. But now you are an engineering manager at NordPass. So can you tell us about that journey from that dedicated tester? You had these interesting projects, and then you ended up being a board member of the LTSTQB, and now you're an engineering manager.
When I was working as a QA, because of my background in software development, I was promoted quite fastly. So I was climbing the corporate ladder every 1.5, 2 years. And eventually I went to leadership positions. I started leading the teams. I started leading the whole this practice. And at one point I was leading 130 QAs in my company. And that was after a few years doing that, I realized that this is the ceiling. There's nothing more that I can do, only including testing, that I can grow. And I started to look for other opportunities, what's next, because I always need to have a goal, what I'm going to be doing next, what skills do I need to grow in order to get there, to get the ability and competences to have this role. And this is when opportunity for me came up to be a CTO. And now then, like 3 years passed, I can safely tell that that wasn't great opportunity. Like I saw the red flags. I saw that it wasn't good, but I had two things which kind of like made me ignore this red flags. I was very ambitious. I wanted to get that role, and it felt like I would be skipping 5 years of my career by starting from engineering manager and going to head of engineering and CTOs, and I'm just gonna get there like skipping all the steps. So I really wanted to do that, and also I felt like I was very over ambitious about myself. Like I felt like I could do any challenge. Whatever you throw at me, I can do it. It will take time. I might pull in some other people who will help me get there, but anything is possible. And that one didn't work out, and I got fired from that CTO position after some time, and it kind of like bring me back to the beginning. So I started from engineering manager, and now I'm on the path to like legitly get that position. And it's been a journey, and it took me some time to recover from being fired. Like I had lack of motivation. I was like every day questioning myself, like what happened there? What could I see in any of the steps where I could, like do something extra, something different to avoid that unfortunate outcome? And there was like a lot of overthinking. Now I don't think that much about it. I'm just focusing on today, where I'm today, what I need to do, and always having this idea how to be like step up to get the new role in mind, and I'm just working towards that. And I believe that's a legit way, and it's not. There's no easy shortcuts. If you want to have a competency, if you need to have it in your role, you'll need to get like from grunt work to get it the legit way, and if you want to be like competent. And the LTSTQB, LTSTQB thing, it was like in parallel. So I was very active in the testing community. I was doing workshops, presentation, conference speeches, podcasts for testers, and that gave me like visibility in the like recognition in the community in Lithuania, and it helped me that I got invited into that group, and there was a lot of like not a lot, but maybe 10 individuals who were really passionate about testing, and what I liked about these individuals is that none of them get paid for this. LTSTQB is a non-profit foundation. So you do a lot of work and you don't get paid for it. So the only thing that drives you is passion. And, being surrounded by these individuals, it just motivates you like to do that as well, And I was struggling with like, what am I doing? Like, for example, recording podcasts, like, is it worthwhile? Are people watching? Yeah. So, and it just, I really enjoyed being surrounded by these individuals, and it helped me a lot to find motivation and courage to do more things and to contribute to the community. And you need to believe that it will pay off eventually. Maybe not today, maybe in a half a year, maybe a year, but it will pay off, and you will be helping a lot of people along the way. So you're helping the community, and they will return the favor. So that's the spirit, and this is why I'm still part of that organization. And even though I don't get paid, and I need to put in the effort, but it really drives me and my like search for the meaning in the whole community and how I can help them further.
That's good. And I guess I've heard stuff from similar and previous podcast guests that a lot of what you need to do, specifically in the roles you're in, is be part of these organizations, because it does help you be surrounded by people who are motivated and they keep an open mind, and they're like, yes, I need to learn this. Yes, I need to try this. Yes, I need to be willing to do all this sort of hard grunt work at first, but it will pay off because I will get those skills and I will develop myself. And that's something you always have to do in testing. You can't assume. You have to ask questions. What do I need? Get the resources, test yourself, train yourself, and keep growing. And I guess that helps with that.
Yeah, exactly. And when you first start, like simple things like regression testing. So you run a regression test, it passes, and you mark it as green. And you see the percentage moving up. So you did the work, you see the reward, you see the result. When you start doing like podcast, for example, right? just a random example, right? How do you get the feedback? Like views, I guess likes, maybe comments, and it's getting harder to get the feedback. You don't see the results that immediately. It takes time. And also resolve, because like if you start a podcast, probably at the first views will not be that much, like you won't get the exposure. But later, after a year, when you're gonna accumulate the knowledge how to run them, and also the not marketing, but word to mouth, like everyone is just sharing this, and then you will see the results. But for that 1 year, you're gonna be questioning yourself, your decisions every day, and then you need to spend like time to edit, to record, to get the guests on the podcast, and just it's a lot of effort.
It is. Can confirm. But from your then QA foundation and where you are today and the journey you've gone through, how has that, again, QA foundation shaped your leadership approach?
Yeah, it did added some like attention to details, and it helped me make better decisions in a way. Like I now know how I can measure the impact of the issue. And like, I mean, every software have issues. It's just like a question if it's a blocker. If it's not a blocker, then how many impact it will have to the customers? Will it impact them these are a workaround? And it's always about a decision. So for example, if I know that I have a software ready, like a feature, and it will be helpful feature for 95% of my users, and 5% will struggle, I will probably still make a choice, like to deliver it earlier, and then the users, 95%, will have a good experience, and then 5 of them, we will have to support them until we fix the bug. So it's always like a choice, and that, like my QA background helped me find it. I also sometimes do the checking myself. So we had one issue recently when we were almost to release the software, and I did some testing. And when we did the testing, we saw we had a bug, but it was like some special Japanese characters weren't working on adding the address. So we thought that it's very limited exposure. And then I tried to do it in Lithuania, and I added my Lithuanian address, and it didn't work because I had Lithuanian special characters. And it turned out that there's a lot of special characters which weren't allowed as an input. And then we saw that just before the release. And we still made the choice to release it, and then we fixed the bug in 24 hours. We informed the customer support that, hey, there might be some customers complaining. Just tell them that either they can send us and we can do it manually and change the address, or they can just wait for 24 hours and it will be fixed. So it was a decision, a tough one, and there was one customer complaining, but only one, and then everyone else could just enjoy the feature 1 day earlier.
Wonderful. And then on the flip side of things, is there something you've had to unlearn from your days as a QA engineer that you now have to think about in engineering management? Ironically, then when you are a QA, you want to fix all the bugs. So you have a quality issues, and you're not happy with that. And then you're more about responsible for the delivery and for the focus of the team. You start to understand that not everything needs to be fixed. It costs money, it costs time, and if we are fixing this bug for, let's say, a week, that means that we are not working on another feature which might be required by the user, more useful. So we might be fixing an issue for one user, and then 1,000 of users won't get the feature which they need. So it's always a choice, and it's always you won't get the perfect quality, but you have to be good enough, still have a stable delivery and happy users. So it's always so I had to relearn this the hard way to find the balance. And it took a while. It took some calibrational things to do for my mindset as well. So I think that was the most obvious one. That's a good one. And then in when you create environments where innovation and quality thrive as in your leadership role at NordPass, how do you balance the pressure of continuously shipping these new features fast and maintaining those high quality standards? We've talked about the character issue with the addresses, but how do you do that in general, balancing that? We need to release a new feature, but we have to maintain this good quality standard for our clients.
So I'm really happy with my QA team, who are working really hard to find all the issues. When we have an information about the issue that it exists, we try to gather more data about it. How common is it? How many users using this feature? So how many will be affected? Is there a workaround? But as long as you have that information, you at least can make decisions. And when you have a decision, it's always about the context. Do we have a deadline? Is there any pressure? Is there any losses if we're going to release it today, or maybe if after a week? If there's not that much, maybe it's not worth to risk and create more customer support tickets, and then explaining everyone that hey, it was a calculated decision. So it's always about the context, and it's never there's never a template how you're going to do it. If there's no bugs, then yeah, you just release it. But if there's a bugs, you always need to think about is either we delay or we wait or we release now and face the consequences.
And then it's been said that when you build great engineering cultures, you need to build in trust, continuous learning, data-informed decisions. But if you had to pick one of those key sort of pillars when you're building a new team, which one would it be and why? Which is the most difficult of those to get right?
Yeah, so in practice, you might have one of two situations. So you might be building a new team from scratch. Then that's an easier one. You hire someone who already have these values. Maybe the trust might not be there in the beginning from the first day, but then you build it up, and then another person joins to the team. He already have an environment pre-rendered, predefined, and he just needs to follow it. And then you add and onboard everyone step by step, and then it's easier to build it that way. And you just see what's missing, and then you react, and then you just fix it like a problem solver. And then there's another one when you inherit the team. It already have their own biases, their own ways of working, and you're a new manager, which you have to evaluate the situation, assess it, and then try to prioritize what needs to be fixed first. And that one is more difficult, and it requires more challenging. So I would say that the trust is more important, because if you have a trust, you can build everything else. If you don't have a trust, then whatever you do, it might get not accepted. You might not get it done, so it might be in vain. So I would say the trust is something that you need to build with your team first.
It's a foundational part of that.
Exactly, yeah.
And when it comes to building great products, getting everyone to feel they have a stake in the quality is key. And many organizations are starting to pick up a shift left mentality. But how do you help engineers take ownership of quality rather than treating it as someone else's responsibility?
So I might be lucky with the teams I got, and I never had this problem. And I have two theories. So one of them is that I was just purely lucky, and then every individual in my team is caring for the quality, and they feel like whatever they're building, we know that it's they spend time on it, and if it's not going to be of a good quality, doesn't matter if it's our team, another team, or someone like design, they care for it, because if it's not going to work when you're going to release it to production, that means your effort you put into this feature will be in vain, or people like users won't be happy with that. And I think that's important to understand this connection, that whatever you do, it's something that you're part of. And if you don't, you find a bug and you just ignore it because it's not my responsibility, it's other team's responsibility, it's not going to be good for anyone. And this mentality is just isn't important. And I feel like every team I worked with, they had this. And I didn't have to model this into the idea how the team operates. It just happened naturally. Another theory I have is that everyone knows my background from, that I'm QA, and maybe just wayfinding okay, so for Nikolaj, it's important. The quality is important, and it's a value he cherish. And then everyone just tries to be like focused on that part.
And a team player.
Yeah. So it might be that like I didn't have to put in the effort because of my background.
Oh, that's good. Inspiring them.
Yeah.
That's great. And a big thing for QA professionals, especially ones starting in their career, is when they do test a product and they find issues, they have to deliver what some would consider bad news. They found issues that need to be fixed. This could be internally or as an outsourced partner, about, what needs to be fixed to make the product quality good. So what advice do you have for those QA professionals in framing feedback constructively?
Mm-hmm. So you need to be mindful about the recipient. And if you see that that person doesn't take these bad news, that he will need to rewrite the code, part of the code, very likely then you need to find another way to approach them. So basically, it's always about the feedback. So some individuals will be very willing to get any information how we can improve further. If they have a blind spot, they didn't notice something, they will be happy to receive the news. While others might not, because we already focus on something else, like another feature, and then need to stop doing that and then switch the context, and then fix the previous bug. And when you do that, I feel like as a QAs, we're super excited that we found an issue. Like, finally, we have something to report. Like, we feel like when we find an issue, it's the value we create as a QAs to the team, that the valuable information that there is a problem and how to fix it, how to reproduce it. And if we're too excited about it, we come to the developers like very happy, like, hey, I found an issue. Hooray. And it might be a very different level of emotions and, the energy. Yeah. And that mismatch might create even more friction. So you need to be mindful about it as well. If you feel like this is impacting you, just, you be happy for that you found a bug, that, take a breather and just wait for an hour or so, and then just report it as a normal, and then maybe have a call with the developer. Just, hey, I can help you to reproduce this, and let's just fix it. Let's get it done. Another thing that I can offer is that radical candor. The book, right? The famous phrase of challenge personally. Challenge directly, care personally. And that one is important. If you're going to embed in your feedback that you want to improve the quality and you want to help developer to avoid this issue in the future, maybe do some, peer testing, maybe helping them to get some techniques done before they even when we finish development, before we move to QA the task, they can just do some testing themselves. So with that approach, you might get more acceptance, and actually it will improve the whole team, because everyone will know more about testing, how to do it themselves. And that part, developers don't usually spend a lot of time testing, so they lack the skills. Some don't. So QAs can easily help it, and then they will be a coach in a sort of from testing perspective. So that's a win-win for everyone.
Nice, very wholesome, holistic advice there. Going on to some of the more broader topics, you spoke at TestCon 2025 about game theory and cooperation, and I believe you said we are all selfish. How did you come to that conclusion, and how did that realization change the way you structure your teams and incentives?
Yeah, I walked into that one, right? It was a risk to say that in front of everyone, but I read the book, so it's not only my opinion. It's let's say it's data, and what I found fascinating is that I was always naive. I hope that everyone wants to cooperate, wants to work together, wants to help each other, and was hoping that this is the environment, natural environment. But it's not the case. Usually everyone is selfish. They don't want to spend their time to help you or their resources, and that's natural. And you shouldn't be naive, shouldn't be expecting that everyone will default to cooperating with you, especially if you ask them to do something extra. And if you don't, being naive, then you can start seeing the patterns, start seeing how you can impact that. And incentives is something that you can do. And yeah, there's multiple ways how you can do it. For example, if I would ask you to give me some money, right? So like I have a financial situation, I need you. You need your help. If you don't trust me, you probably wouldn't do that. Like, I mean, you're just a stranger who you met in a podcast, right? And if you would trust me, you would know that I will give back the favor. Maybe not like I will not give back the money itself, like won't be borrowing, but might be that if you were, moving out, I will help you to move the stuff, like I will spend my time to help you. So if we have a trust between each other, we might not have an issue in cooperating. But if there's no trust, there's no cooperation. Usually you would say, oh, sorry, I'm busy, or like, I don't have money with me. We're going to find an excuse. And this is normal. So if you expect that to happen, then you can prepare for it. The ways you can improve that is changing the incentives in the teams itself. So if you see that a team doesn't cooperate that well, maybe there's a trust issue, maybe the payoffs are not in a good side. So it's, if I encourage the teams to be focusing on their deliveries, I will be measuring them, like how much you created value, like outcomes of your effort, of your hours you put into the task, versus if I will be encouraging the cooperation, that will be some incentive for me. So everyone knows that you will get more kudos, you will get more attention if I will be just focusing on my delivery and delivering the maximum I can. But that creates problems in the teams because no one is helping each other. Everyone is focused on their own things, delivering the stories, and then you don't, as a team, you are dysfunctional. And that's a problem. And you need to focus and you need to incentivize team to help each other. If someone is stuck, someone needs to help. And if you create this environment when you know that you're going to be, like, if you are stuck, someone will help you from your team, from your community, that will be very helpful. Like, I would be trusting this environment and I would also contribute to this environment. I would help someone because I know I will get the favor back whenever I need it. And that's how you build the environments. And you need to always measure how you react as a leader because you're shaping these decisions. And you need to encourage cooperation whenever you're going to see it, when the opportunities arise.
Now, it leads nicely on to my next question, was you mentioned in your talk that collaboration improves when you abandon the need to constantly be better than others. So in those competitive industries like security, how do you foster that mindset while still driving high performance?
Yeah, it's a bit counterintuitive, but it actually makes sense when you look at it at a bigger level. For example, we have two teams. One team is encouraged to be competitive. And we have a belief that if it's a competitive, then everyone doing extra mile, they're doing to make sure that they're like the better or learning more, putting extra effort, extra hours, like it brings more motivation to the team to outperform their previous self. So this is something that the team will have. And in the short term, it might work. It might yield you a good term, like short-term results. But the problem is that it means that you're going to hoard knowledge. So I know something that you don't know. I won't share the knowledge with you. You're going to get ahead of me. If I have a big gap between me and you, I'll want to keep that. And if I see the opportunity to support you, I won't, because you're going to catch up to me. So it creates this environment that you just don't function as a team, and you will be limited by your own skills and competency, and everyone else will be limited by their own. And then we have another team who are encouraged to cooperate, to share the knowledge, to help each other, and to support each other. And then that means that you are not limited by your competence and by your knowledge. You're going to get knowledge from your teams, from your community, organization, from the whole, industry, if the knowledge sharing is existing. And then in the long term, it's a much better outcome. And this is the problem that Prisoner's Dilemma and game theory is showcasing, that if you based everything on one decision, it doesn't make sense to cooperate, to help each other. But if you have iterative approach, you have multiple games in the same round, it makes sense to cooperate, and it will yield a much better result. You will accumulate and you will unlock your potential, not only by your competences, but the competences of your team. And everyone is supporting, helping each other. If there's no burnouts, there's no, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, I feel helpless, I feel like I'm imposter, and there's less of that in a team. And I mean, it's counterintuitive, but it's the best thing that we can do to our teams. And in industry, right? And you mentioned that, security is in competitive industry. Yes, there's not that much sharing maybe between two companies, but inside the company, it's a different story. And we need to encourage the cooperation and sharing and impact and shape our leadership in the way that we're going to be encouraging these behaviors.
Yeah, that's good. And then, so sort of to encapsulate everything we've mentioned about game theory, is there a nugget of wisdom you can give to our audience? Maybe they have an established team, they're trying to get everyone to collaborate more. What is a practical step any sort of existing QA professional team could take tomorrow to be better at cooperation based on what you've learned?
So the organizations are being around for long years, a lot of time, and they already figured out most of the issues. And what we see that competency metrics, the way how you can grow as a specialist, it involves knowledge sharing. It involves helping others, maintaining the cooperation, being available to your junior engineers to help you. And this is part of your growth. So organizations already figured it out, and it's part of the growth. So if you're a senior, you need to share the knowledge. If you don't, probably you won't be promoted. There's some rail guards in there in your growth that you need to start sharing. And this makes a lot of sense. If you have a knowledge and you can do something, and only you can do it, for an organization that might not be very good, but if you can share that knowledge and then other 5 people can do that same thing, that's like you multiply the knowledge, your capabilities by 5, and that's amazing result. For organization, this is very important, but for you as well, because you're going to start sharing. And if you shared, maybe the other individuals will start following your patterns, and they're going to find the ways how to improve it. We're going to feedback it to you, and then you're going to improve it as well. Maybe if you had a blind spot by some sort of things that you haven't noticed before, and then others have noticed it, and they can help you as well. And it's just a feedback cycle, like this reciprocity, like I help you, you help me, and it just brings everyone into the top shape. But it takes time. It's not something you're going to see after a week or 2, but it takes time to build this, but it's a worthwhile thing to do.
It's worth it. And it goes back to what you said earlier. You need that foundation of trust, the knowledge that you're all working together. I trust you, you trust me, we'll work together on this. And that's what helps build those teams up. So maybe if you need to work on the trust, that would be a key way of getting your team to work together from the get-go. If you work at tomorrow and we need to build trust between our teammates, that would be a good starting point.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then looking at what you do at NordPass specifically, NordPass deals with a lot of sensitive user data and security. And how does that context shape your quality assurance approach compared to other domains you've worked in?
So with the whole Nord security, there's a lot of emphasis on, security part. And there's a lot of teams and tools and guides you can pull in to make sure that you're quite secure and you have your quality at the top notch than every user of Nord security product expects from this suite, for portfolio. And this is a good help because there's a lot of individuals, competent individuals who can help you. And we have this security reviews, we have pen testing, we have threat modeling, and all of these sessions is almost like mandatory for every feature. And you have to go through this in order to release a feature. It kind of first it creates you I wouldn't say friction, but it takes more time to do it right. But then you see the benefit of that, and then you avoid a lot of possible attack vectors from others, from threat actors, and it just helps you build a better product. And you have this attention to quality and to security, and it helps you to justify why you need to spend more time on it. Why we can't release it tomorrow, because we need to complete some security checks before we can do that. And everyone is in the same board. So it's not a fight and we need to fight for every feature not to be released, like as soon as possible, but whenever it's ready to be released. And I think that when everyone's on the same page, it's easy to plan for it. And it's a win. It's a long-term game. It's not a short-term game. But it's a big plus for us to maintain this standard of quality.
And you've already mentioned some big ones that everyone expects in sort of the security world, but is there a quality challenge that's unique to password management and security products that our listeners might not expect?
Yeah, from testing the product, it comes with its own, not risks, but some sort of limitations. So for example, we're using zero knowledge architecture. That means that we don't know what is the data in database. It's just gibberish to us. So we cannot manipulate it. We cannot change it. We cannot understand how it works without the part of UI. And it brings everyone to some sort of like a level of expertise for the security, how encryption and decryption works. And it creates a better baseline of what we expect from QAs. In order for us to work in this environment with this kind of challenges. And I think everyone in the team is quite experienced at this, and you need to get that knowledge. And there's plenty of ways how to get it, but like in the company itself, we have some guides, but you need to have it. And I think that's a unique challenge. And you need to have this like problem-solving approach. So the previous methods I'm used to manipulate the data doesn't work. I need to find something else, something different. And we have some tooling created specifically for that. In order to understand it, you need some a basic of cryptography. And I think a lot of engineers knows it. And even though it's a challenge at first, it's a cumbersome limitation, but it pushes you to excel in the security area, to understand it yourself. And when you understand it, you can test it better. Also, when we have this pen testing, security reviews, threat modeling, we get a lot of feedback from security team, and it's registered as a sort of a bugs. And then case will need to validate it, and they learn from it as well because they get the feedback. Okay, so what they missed, we already completed developing, and then security team found something, and this is also good feedback for them to learn from, and then we can get better at it. And I think security testing, skill set of security testing, is very much appreciated in the industry as well. And it's not something that you're gonna forget when you leave the company. It's gonna stay with you, and this is a valuable skill to have. And I think it's a win-win for everyone, even though it's a difficult thing. It's a challenge.
That was a good in-depth answer, but I'd like to take a look at the future a bit, or I guess the present. AI has been a big buzzword in the industry. Everyone's talking about it. It's in any form, anywhere. But how do you think AI is changing the role of QA engineers and testers specifically? And do you have any advice to give them in an age where AI is all over the place?
It is changing the QA approach as well, but maybe not for the better. We need to defend the quality more, because the AI have the tendency to hallucinate, and it's not a secret, but some management individuals don't know about it. And I heard some stories from the industry where it was difficult to defend that, hey, we need to test it still. You cannot generate automated tests and get it covered with the automated tests. You need to test it before releasing to the users. And some management feels like this is a way to cut the cost. And this is a bad approach. And I think that there's already some anecdotes in the industry how it didn't work out well. And this is a bit of a troublesome for engineers and especially QAs to defend that they're still valid and not available, but required to have a good quality. So it is important for to know what are the limitations, and it will take some time for everyone to get over this buzz of AI and that it will replace everyone. It won't, but it's creating more difficulty for QAs as well, just to proven and justify the need of QA. And as for QAs, I would say that the AI will still stay. We will use it. We'll use it as a tool. We'll use it in different opportunities, different workflows, and you need to understand how it works. You need to understand how to utilize that, how to test it, how to use it as a tool itself to emphasize and, to boost your abilities. But you need to be mindful of it. It does a lot of hallucinations. My advice would be that if you're a junior, especially if you're junior, you need to learn it the hard way, that to get the skills, get the experience without relying too much on AI. AI can help you if you're stuck at some place, like you don't know what to do with this specific situation. It could be a good source where you can get some help, but you shouldn't be relying on AI that much. And then what I'm saying is that I would say that like the more junior you are, the less AI you should use in your workflows. This will allow you to get the skills you need in order to assess if AI is correct and to like critically judge the output of AI, and then can you trust it or not? And then you get to the senior level when you already have a really good knowledge, and then you can utilize AI even more to have a better prompts to do the work for it. But then you will be doing still code reviewing whatever the AI is outputting. And without having the skills, the hard-earned skills, you won't be able to do that.
I think a good word you used there was AI tools. And I think a lot of QA engineers need to, I guess, or they do understand AI is not going anywhere, but it is still a very useful tool. But like any tool, it's the craftsman using the tool that makes the difference. Anyone can use AI. We have no-code development now. We have many no-code things. But even at the end of the day, maintaining quality, maintaining everything with it comes down to the person using the tool. And someone with a lot of experience can use AI incredibly effectively to automate some of the slower things in their life. But for a junior to get good with a tool, you need to make sure you have that foundation experience to use it effectively.
Yeah, exactly. There's no shortcut.
There's no shortcuts.
Yeah, if you want to get from junior to senior, you'll need to do the hard work. You need to learn the skills.
That's good. And then what excites you then about the future of testing and tech innovation in general? Is there anything big on the horizon that's got you all excited?
I really like this industry, and I believe that the IT is the one which are developing the most rapidly. And I believe that the tools we're using today will be outdated in 2 years. The models, the like AI models we use today will be outdated in, I don't know, probably in 2 months. It's that fast. But you get more tool and framework agnostic. You learn that nothing is going to stay there forever, and you need to be mindful and get this, knowledge and craftsmanship, not related to the tooling itself, how to use that specific tool, but more about what needs to be done. And like, I know what I need to get from where I am right now and where I need to get. And if the tool helps me, that's fine. But it's just a tool. If I still know how to get it, even without a tool, that will be helpful, because you will be able to substitute that with any tool you're going to use today, tomorrow, or after 10 years. But the industry is like, it's pushing you to learn every day, to keep it up, keep you on your edge. And I really love this. I think not every industry have this. When you have this comfort zone, that when you know what you're doing, you did it before, you did it 10 years ago, and you still continue doing that, and you're really good at it. You're a master craftsman, but you're just doing whatever you did before. It's not exciting. Then there's some challenges which are farther away on the spectrum, which are impossible to do. You just don't have the competencies to do that, and they just feel overwhelming. And it's not productive, it's not efficient, but there is this in between, the gray area, which called at the edge, where you have the competencies, but you don't know how to solve it yet, but you have the competencies to do that. And it keeps you on this edge, always learning, questioning, finding, researching, and just getting things done. And you are becoming a problem solver. So as long as you know what is the problem, you're going to solve it, whatever tool you're going to use. But that skill is important, and you need to stay on the edge, and then you will have a happy career.
That's good. And that was a really good point, because we are coming to the end of our time. So it was a fantastic point to end on there. But before we go, just for our audience, if they want to learn more about you, follow your journey, maybe any future events you're talking at, where can they follow you for that?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
So this is the most tool I'm using, a social tool I'm using. And you can find me, send me an invite, send me a message if you have some specific questions. I'm always answering the questions, and that you are one question away from getting your answer, might be.
Great. So if you want to follow Nikolaj's work, you now know where to start. As we close off this episode, I'd like to thank Nikolaj for joining us today, sharing his insights. It's been great to learn about your tech journey, how software QA plays such an important role in your work, NordPass, and where software development is going in general. And as mentioned, if you'd like to follow Nikolaj's journey, you can check him out on LinkedIn. He does respond to questions, so if you have any, you can drop them in his comments. And if you want to know more about making top-notch quality products, you can check out TestDevLab's knowledge base, where we have white papers, blogs, case studies, and of course, more episodes of Tech Effect. So Nikolaj, once again, thank you for being with us today. And thank you to you, the audience, for joining us. It's been a great conversation, and I'll see you all in the next episode.